Lead generation. That's what we all want, isn't it? To generate as many calls as possible and make as many deals as we can. And today we're going to talk about a lead generation technique that not a lot of investors take advantage of. So we'll be back in just a second. Welcome to the Sub2Deals Show, where we talk about all things subject to. Occasionally, we talk about other real estate investing topics, but it's always something to help you with your real estate investing business. We appreciate you being here. Want to ask you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We release new videos pretty much every day with tips on real estate investing, creative finance, and all things subject to. If you're looking for the absolute most affordable coaching on the planet, you want to learn about creative finance, I ask you to check out $7coaching.com. $7 a month. I guarantee you won't find a better deal on the planet. And we'll teach you all about subject to and how to do creative finance deals. Guys, today we're going to talk a little bit about something, about a lead generation technique that a lot of investors never really take a look at. They think it's too expensive and they just can't approach it. But we've got a guest today that's going to tell us all about it and how you can do it and really change your business. I want to welcome Tony Javier today. Hey, Tony, how are you?
William, what's up, buddy? Good to see you, man.
Yeah, good to see you here. Listen, I'm real excited to have you on today. I want to talk about generating some leads. And, we talk about lead generation all the time. It's probably with newbie investors and even some of the guys who've been around a while. One of the hardest parts of the business is getting good leads. But you've been very successful with TV and other things. So just tell everybody about yourself, how you got started, and we'll get going from there.
Yeah, absolutely. Love to share my experience. I've been in business for 21 years now. So started back 9/11 is when I first bought my first deal. And the reason I was able to do that was education. So I bought a course on late night TV called No Down Payment by Carlton Sheets. A lot of us old school investors know who that is. If you're newer in the game, you probably don't. But he was one of the first guys on TV nationally to really promote real estate investing. And so it changed the game for me. I was in college waiting tables and didn't have any money. So no money down, buy real estate. It just appealed to me. And I think it appeals to a lot of people because a lot of people think they have to have money to invest in real estate, whereas they just need to find somebody that has money to help them invest in real estate. So fast forwarding to today, we've done close to 1,000 flips over the last 21 years. I'm not a wholesaler. I'm a fix and flip guy and a rental guy. So I like to buy properties, close on them, and either flip them or keep them as rentals. And so, the first 10 years of my business, I compare to the second 10, well, now 11, I guess. First 10 was a lot of struggles. It was doing a lot of the wrong things, hiring a lot of the wrong people. It was, banging my head against the wall, trying to make things work. And then the next 10 years of my business, it's like I just made a shift to working a lot smarter by hiring better people, by asking for help and joining mastermind groups and getting coaching, and just made a lot of decisions my second 10 years that really propelled me to where about 3 or 4 years after I made that big decision to just start going to a different level. And when I found someone, or 3 to 4 years after I found someone that had a business that ran without me, or without them rather, I had that vision. And within 3 to 4 years, I was able to make that happen to where I was able to step out of the business. I've got a team in Wichita, Kansas now that runs my operation without me while I live in San Diego. And I've been able to start a lending business. I've been able to start doing TV media, which I'll talk about here in a minute. I've owned some co-working space and just to do a lot of things outside of real estate that have really helped build some fulfillment for me and help build multiple streams of income. And so one of the things that happened about 10 years ago that was a big change as well is I accidentally discovered TV commercials. So I met this guy at a networking event. He became a good friend of mine. And he, a few months later, invited me to a poker game at another friend's house. And so I was like, okay, cool. You know, I don't know this guy, but I'll go. And so we go down to into the guy's basement where the poker table is. We're getting ready to play poker. And I see this guy and I'm like, wait a second, that guy I've seen on TV before, you know, and I get this, I mean, you see the smile on my face now. It was like, you know, this whole celebrity factor of like, wow, I'm going to play poker with this guy that's on TV. Turns out he's just a normal guy. And so I started asking about his TV commercial and he's like, that's all we do for marketing. We do $2 million a year off of the TV commercial, and that's all we do. He's like, we get referrals from it because people see us and they refer their friend. We get direct, you know, people call us directly and all that kind of stuff. So he's like, you know, that might do okay for your business. He's like, I don't know. Why don't you call my guy Drew, my media buyer, and see if he could do something for you. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So call him Monday, and I'm like, hey, Drew, here you're the TV guy, and he's like, yeah, let me look, and you know, you told me what your demographic is. You know, I feel like I've got a good feel for who you're trying to reach. Let me reach out to the stations and put a budget together for you and see if you like it. So he puts together a budget, and it's $3,000 a month, a lot less than I thought it was going to be. And in the first month, the $3,000 turned it into 35 grand. And then just was off to the races from there. So that is probably one of the top 2 to 3 decisions I ever made, was to start TV commercials, because it's helped me to brand my business, which I heard that term way before, like branding. And I'm like, I'm a real estate investor. I don't need to brand myself. I just need to find more houses, right?
Right.
But it's been really crucial for me in implementing other marketing strategies, because it helps all of my other marketing strategies. Because when people see a direct mail piece, when they see me online through pay-per-click or anything else that I do, they tie it to the TV commercial. Especially now that I've been on TV for 10 years and they've seen it so many times. The return on investment, the consistency, like direct mail has been up and down. Actually, PPC, we just stopped because we realized the last 12 months it just didn't perform. I think it's just getting really expensive and competitive. Facebook, we stopped. So, you know, there's a lot of different things that have been up and down, but TV has been the most consistent for us. And, you know, it's helped other things like private money. Like when someone refers a private money lender to me, so our private money lenders, we take really good care of. So they'll refer other private money lenders. And then when they say, oh yeah, I've seen you on TV, I'm like, it's an easy conversation.
Oh,
you can just tell they feel like they know me. Contractors, when you talk to them, and like they just treat you differently. Banks, they have more trust with you because they're like, oh, I've seen you on TV. Obviously, they have to run their numbers and make sure it works on the back end. But just everything that you know, perception of me and my business changed when I started doing TV commercials. And now we're, you know, a couple of years ago, someone's like, why don't you show people what you're doing, right? Why don't you, like, there's not many people that are doing, like, actually, anytime that I said I'm doing TV commercials with real estate investors up until the last couple of years, like, they're like, I've never heard of that. And still there's a lot of investors that are like, I've never heard of that before. And so, so we started plugging into other markets with TV with other real estate investors, using the scripts that I tested, using the shows and stations that I know that worked and all of that. And now our clients are doing the exact same thing, where month one, they're getting multiple deals under contract, and it's really changing the way that their business looks. So that's kind of how I started. And now where I am today, working on media and TV commercials for real estate investors around the country.
Right. I know exactly what you're talking about. When investors get started, and then they get started really, really basic type things, whether and that we've all done, bandit signs and direct mail, and it's like you move up the ladder, you make a little bit of money, because some things you feel like are just out of your reach, whether it's pay-per-click or even Facebook advertising. Oh, it's just too expensive. And new investors tend to want to be cheap. They want to cheap out on things, but, you know, get the leads. And I know in the conversation I've had with you, I was shocked to learn, you know, from you today, that TV sounds like it can be less expensive than radio, because we just got started doing radio recently.
Yeah. So the thing about TV is, and that it's a great thing, is that the perception about TV is that it is hard to do, which it is. There's a lot of variables to it. That it's not good for real estate investing. It's just a branding thing, right? A lot of people don't want to spend money on quote unquote branding. They want to spend money on results. And then the other thing is that it's too expensive, right? So it keeps a lot of people out of the game. Even if they think about doing TV, it's like, oh, I heard TV is good, but then they're like, oh, I can't. Like even some high level investors I've talked to that are now our clients, they're like, I heard about TV a few years ago. Someone else doing it, but I thought it was too expensive. And then they have the conversation with us, and the reason that people think it's too expensive is because a lot of people reach out to the stations when they hear when they may hear about TV, and they're like, hey, we heard, TV is a great thing. Can you give us an estimate of what it would take to get on TV? And a lot of TV stations will promote their most expensive stuff, even if it's like not your demographic. They feel like they kind of know your demographic, which they usually don't. They think you're working with buyers instead of sellers. And so they buy the wrong commercials, and they're going to try and charge 10 to 15 grand a month, and they're going to try and get you locked in for 6 to 12 months. Whereas usually those same markets, we can spend 5 grand a month, get on 3 stations at least, and get them 5 times as many commercials. And it just makes it makes a world of difference, because if you're getting a fraction of the commercials for a higher ad spend and a fraction of the deal, so not only are you spending more money, you're making less because you're not getting seen as much, and the numbers don't always work. So even when people say, yeah, I know someone else that's on TV, it's like, are they doing it right? Are they buying the right shows? Did they go directly to the stations and trying to negotiate? Or do they have someone that knows what they're doing, that knows the demographic, that knows what works, that has the scripts and all that kind of stuff? So there is this perception that TV is really expensive, but I shared with you before we started recording that most of the markets in the US, you can get away with a $5,000 a month ad spend.
Right. And get several, it sounds like several hundred spots. You mentioned Carlton Sheets coming on. That's how I got my start too. And Carlton Sheets, and that's, one of the first things you learn when you're talking about the right TV shows, the right time slots. Carlton Sheets was always on, it seemed like, on Sundays and late night TV when people were watching TV. They were worrying about how they were going to pay their bills. Gosh, I've got to go back to work Monday morning, or late nights, you can't sleep, and that sort of thing. How do you know? I mean, what are we looking for in TV? What time slots, what shows do we target as investors?
Yeah, so we have this formula that, again, I started with and I've tweaked over time. So we tried the expensive stuff, we tried the cheap stuff, and luckily a lot of the cheap stuff works. That's why we get so many commercials and so many eyeballs on our stuff, is that our demographic is watching the commercials that we feel like are inexpensive and that just hits our demographic. So 50 plus is what we're trying to hit in lower income, right? So luckily, a lot of people are, when they're doing TV commercials for other things, are trying to hit people that have more money and that might be higher income, and they don't have an age range. So I feel like that's one of the many reasons our commercials work, is that we're hitting what we feel like is our demographic. But I can't disclose what our formula is, because it would, get people to compete with our clients that we're already running TV commercials for. But anybody who has bunny ear antennas, over the air TV, I think is what they call it.
Right.
They're going to see your commercials. If they have YouTube TV, they're going to see your commercials. If they have any kind of cable package, they're going to see our commercials. So, and like you said, we're seeing a lot. So, for $5,000 a month in most markets, we're getting anywhere from 400 to 1,000 commercials a month. I mean, it's pretty substantial. It all depends on, a lot of it depends on the size of the market, but yeah, we have some clients that our minimum ad spend is $5,000, but there's some markets we can't even spend that much because we buy so many commercials that even 4,500 is going to get them 1,200 commercials a month, and it's just kind of overkill at some point.
Yeah. So. Yeah. And then at that point, people, if you got that many commercials going on, they might think of you like they do now about the Camp Lejeune thing that's going on right now. You can't turn the television on without. Yeah. Were you stationed at Camp Lejeune? I don't know if you see any of that stuff or not, but
no. What is that? Is that
it's the newest
class action lawsuit,
man, and I'm telling you, it is on every 5 minutes. everywhere. There are
Yeah.
Facebook memes about it now. It's pretty crazy, but they just came out of nowhere and they're everywhere
Huh.
now. So that's the
Interesting.
big thing at this point. So what about now? I know with radio, you go into a new market, generally it'll take a couple of weeks for people really to start picking up the phone. They hear you a few times, they go, oh, this guy's here. All right. A couple of weeks later, he's still there. Then the calls will start coming in. It's the same for TV. It takes you just a couple of weeks for it to really make a difference, to build some credibility there.
Yeah, so like I mentioned, when I started my TV commercials, I didn't know what to expect, right?
Mhm.
So spent $3,000 the first month, made 35 grand, and been profitable, pretty much since then. So when I launched my TV commercials, I know what happened to me, but when I started launching them for other people, I'm like, okay, I feel like this could work because I know a couple other investors that are doing it around the country, that are making it work. So is it going to be 3 months before they start seeing results? Is it 6 months? Which is fine. 3 to 6 months is not a bad time frame to get ramped up and then,
Right.
start getting deals. But I'm really fortunate that in the first month that our TV commercials are launching for our clients, almost every single client is getting deals their first month. That's paying for their ad spend and they're profitable.
Mhm.
So I've been very fortunate in that aspect. Like, I had a call last week with a guy and he started, I think about 90 days ago. But after 30 days, he texts me and he's like, holy, because I've known him for a little while. He's like, holy crap, you're a genius. Like, I don't know why I didn't start TV commercials before.
Right.
This is amazing. My team loves it. And then he reached out to me again last week. No, actually, he's getting ready to launch a second. No, he reached out to me right after that 30 days. And he's like, I want to launch a second market. I know this works. So let's start a second market. So we're getting ready to launch him in a second market. And then he reaches out to me again and he's like, dude, we just locked up a $108,000 deal from TV. And we've done 9 other deals in the last 3 months or whatever it was and he gave me his numbers. It was like some pretty
Mhm.
big numbers. So I just love that. Like it's like I said earlier, now that I've opened up different businesses, like real estate investing is great. Like you get to help sellers, you get to build teams and all that kind of stuff, but it's not nearly as fulfilling as what we're doing now, which is basically just growing people's businesses,
Mhm.
growing the awareness, and really helping them just crush it in the market and become the authority in the market. Because
Right.
once we get people on TV, like the way that they're looked at in the market is just completely different.
Mhm. I know, I've been doing this for a while now, and it's okay. There's some of the things we do as investors to generate business, whether it's cold calling. You start out, you're doing that stuff yourself, then you hire it out, or whether it's doing direct mail or any of the things we've talked about earlier. But you get at a point when you're like, man, I just want leads to come in. I don't want to have to do all that stuff or be responsible for other people doing it either. And it sounds like a great way to accomplish that. Most of your clients only use TV to generate leads now. Is that it? Totally hands off, pretty much.
No, well, there's been some newer investors we've gotten on TV. Our clientele is usually doing deals. They're doing anywhere from 1 to 20. I mean, we have clients that are doing 20 deals a month. And so the newer investors, it may have been their only or one of their only lead sources, but most of our clients are already doing other forms of marketing. So that's great because then TV helps those other forms of marketing as well.
Mhm.
Um, but so your question was, is that mainly what they do, or is that only
Right.
what they do?
Is this something that someone who's been in the game for a little while, so obviously they need some revenue to commit. They have to have a budget, a significant budget for marketing. Your newer investors, as a rule, as I find them, have small marketing budgets. So you
Right,
can't have $1,000 a month marketing budget and jump into TV. You've got to
right,
have
for
something
sure,
better than that.
for sure.
But once you do that, can TV just be? Have you found that it can be your total marketing thing? You don't have to do other things. It can generate enough deals for you where you don't have to do the other stuff.
It definitely can be. I don't like there's one guy in particular that I think about 6 months ago, he's like, I think I'm gonna take all the money I'm doing over here and switch it over to TV. And I'm like, okay, no pressure here, right? But like, I would never recommend that, right?
Mhm.
Now, I've got some clients that were doing other things, started TV, and then realized it worked really well, and then kind of slowly shifted money away from there. from other things. And then also opened other markets where they're doing just TV in other markets, because virtual wholesaling is a big thing right now. And
Right.
there's a lot of people that have good tools and resources to make that happen.
Mhm.
And so, and we're kind of doing that now, where we're doing JV partnerships with other investors around the country. That's how we're expanding our TV reach with our company. So we will actually partner with real estate investors around the country and run TV commercials with them.
Mhm.
So the short answer is yes, you can depend strictly on TV, but I would never recommend someone just dumping whatever they're doing now that's working
Right.
and then dump it all into TV. We have investors that shift money over or will add TV to their marketing budget, but I definitely wouldn't recommend canceling everything you're doing and just dumping it all into TV, unless what you're doing right now is just not producing the results that you're looking for.
Mhm. Okay. So most of the commercials that you guys run for investors, and I know you're not, I'm not asking you to give away your metrics and everything, but you're typically looking for certain time slots. I mean, certain types of shows. Any tips you could give us on that without giving away the secret sauce?
You're trying to dig in and find some stuff, right? Yeah. So, I'll just say daytime TV is a big thing for us. Like, we
Mhm.
feel like our demographic is, maybe third shift workers. They're watching TV during the
Right.
day, going to work at night. They're, semi-retired, maybe,
Mhm.
in their, low 60s. Their, mother that was 85 just passed away, and they're just watching TV at home. They lost their job and they need money.
Mhm.
And they bought their house 20 some years ago, and they want to sell it. Um, we also do some other stuff, like late night, where if people are, having financial troubles, they're, whether it's they're laid off or they've got a big roof repair bill they're trying to figure out how to pay, that we hit those
Right.
people as well. So,
Mhm.
so there's a lot of different, a lot of different types of commercials we hit. But any which way, we feel like what we've been able to dial in really hits our demographic well, because I mean, our success rate is extremely high. Like,
Right.
when we get people on TV, we're generating a lot of leads, we're getting a lot of success for our clients, and it's just really, really doing well. I mean, I started this 2 years ago. It's just
Mhm.
gone so much far above and beyond what I thought it was going to, and
Right.
it's been a really good ride.
Okay. Cool. All right. So if I'm an interested investor and haven't know nothing about TV, now you offer a service that's sort of start to finish. I mean, you handle the entire process for somebody, so they don't have to learn about TV, learn what shows to target, negotiate with people. Tell us about that, Tony. What does that service involve, and how does that go?
Yeah, so like when you and I bought Carlton Cheestone down payment system, there wasn't someone to do it for us, right?
Right.
And I don't know, I think the statistic of people who buy educational products, like it's probably 1% of 1% that actually do anything with it,
Yeah, that's right.
And so when I put this program together, I'm like, okay, even like really experienced investors are really busy. So we
Mhm.
put together a turnkey program. So I reached out to my media guy, Drew, like I mentioned, that got me on TV 10 years ago. And I said, hey, if I launch this, because I had people asking me, like, hey, will you show me how to do it? Or, I've had some people be like, why don't you show other investors what you're doing? Because it's like really unique. And so I reached out to my media guy, Drew, and I said, hey, if I show everybody my scripts, if I show everybody my schedules and everything that we've done, which is, at that point, it was 8 years worth of data, would you go and negotiate with the stations and do the back end for them so they don't have to do all of that? And so we partnered together. And so we offer a fairly turnkey service where we negotiate with the radio, you said radio earlier. We negotiate with the TV stations. We put the scripts together that we know work. We've got about 8 scripts that have done really well for me, and now that we're doing well for investors around the country. And really, the only thing anybody has to do is approve the ad spend, approve the budget, and go into the station and shoot the commercial. It's probably an hour to 2 hours of work from our clients, and they can be doing deals. And I think you mentioned something about kind of, you didn't say set it and forget it, but what I call is set it forget it approach. And there's a lot of other marketing methods that take a lot of time, like putting
Right.
bandit signs out is a lot of time.
That's right.
They get taken down. You got to put a bunch back up, and it's just,
Mhm.
postcards are great, but you have to redesign them. You have to figure out what list you're mailing to.
Right.
We do direct mail again, so I'm not bashing direct mail, but it's just a lot
Mhm.
more time and effort. And texting and cold calling obviously are just there's such it's such brain damage, right? Like, and
It
I'm
really
not
is.
saying you can't do well with it. And there's some clients that are doing really, our clients that are doing well with it, and we know other people doing well with it. But for us, like when we set it up right,
Mhm.
and most of our clients are running about a year before they even touch their commercial.
Mhm.
And then for me, like I usually change my commercial once a year to once every 18 months.
Mhm.
And so we don't really have to spend a lot of time on on the commercials. We set it up right and we know it's working and don't have to touch it for a long time.
Right. Okay. Fabulous. So how does everyone get in touch with you for to talk to you about that?
Yeah, if you go to remtv.com, so it stands
Mhm.
for Real Estate Master. So remtv.com, that'll go to my website. You can see a little bit more. You can kind of get some kind of examples of some commercials that we do, and then we do semi-market exclusivity. So we only allow
Mhm.
2 to 3 people per market. So
Right.
if you want to see if your market's available, you're more than welcome to go there and fill out the application and book a call with us, and we would be more than happy to talk with you.
Okay, great, Tony. I'll tell you, I actually want to talk to you about TV. We're going to get this radio thing. We started that this past week, and we're going to see how that moves out. And then it seems to me, I mean, if you come in with what you said about TV is absolutely right. There are a couple of things on TV, on the radio, or have a book, and you're just an instant expert to everyone. It's like they won't let that guy on TV unless he really knows what he's talking about. Just a lot of the public perception about that. So yeah, I'm sure if you're the guy that the local investor, there can be 1,000 we buy houses guys in town, but you're the one on TV, so instantly you've got that credibility.
Yeah, and there's very few people in any market on TV. In fact, when I talk with most people, they're like, "I maybe know one," and sometimes they'll be
Mhm.
like, "Yeah, I see a couple guys on TV." But when most of these markets hit 500,000 to millions of people, and to only have a couple
Mhm.
people on TV is pretty incredible. And you're right, the perception of people on TV is just like we have clients that'll text me and be like, "Check out these text messages I've been getting." Like people will be like,
Mhm.
"Congratulations. I can't believe you did it." Like, it's like this whole mecca of like, man, you really made
Right.
it when you're on TV. So
Yeah.
it's definitely a different mind shift,
Mhm.
um, with people that are on TV, just like I had with the guy at the poker game. Like he's just a normal guy. He was actually pretty introverted, just normal guy. But my perception of him was like, man, he's the real deal, and
Mhm.
he's doing good business. I think he's making good money, but just the perception is definitely there with TV.
Yeah, great. Okay, well, Tony, thanks so much for being on today and sharing that with us. Guys, go check out remtv.com and talk to Tony and see how he can change your business and make you the local expert in real estate investing. So, thanks so much for being on with us today.
Thanks, William. Appreciate it, man.
All right, thanks. Okay, guys, that is it for this episode of the Sub2Deals Show. We appreciate you being here with us today. Don't forget to subscribe to us at our YouTube channel. That's sub2tv.com. And until next time, get out there, talk to some sellers, and buy some houses.